Yeah. Let's call the meeting to order at 5:04. Should we sound off who's here?
Sound off.
Dana,
Here.
Dave, Ed, Sheridan,
Weird.
Dave is here,
Terry's here.
Terry's here, and we have one visitor, Jake Neese.
Some riffraff in the background there.
Great. And additions to the agenda.
Progress.
I've got to
Just put it on mute.
It is. I think I back up.
It's not on the agenda, but since there's someone here who wants to,
Yeah.
we can start with it.
Yeah, I thought we'd start with Jake to give us your,
Okay.
you want to do a song and dance up front or?
No, it's a little, I guess, not really
Yeah,
set up the same.
yeah, pull a chair.
Did you get the email I sent to the advisory board to the Gmail address?
I don't think I got it.
And.
Oh, on the website, do you really?
Yeah,
Well, we gotta talk about that.
Yeah,
I've emailed it a number of times and I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Response.
That's something they didn't fix yet.
Tell it through the cracks.
Right, yeah,
So we have-
sorry.
I just assumed the emails were coming to you.
Yeah,
And
they probably are.
But also sent it to Terry,
I got it, yeah.
and I think he was well Preston, just about waste at the Ridgway concert series. There's always been, had been this back and forth about, can we refill cups? Is it a public health issue? At Love Your Valley, it got me thinking, because you have to refill your cups. And so I went to the public health director and asked about it to get a definitive answer. And I forwarded that information.
We did refill them in the Ridgway concert last year.
We did not.
We,
no.
we did.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, oh,
Yeah.
it was allowed, yeah. The key is the person has to get the same cup back that they gave you for the sense.
Yeah.
That's the rule, but wanted to ask if the town would advertise that you can bring your own cups, because for the longest, well, since COVID, it was, we can't do that, it's single use, use it once, throw it away. That has shifted back, but to advertise that would help reduce some cup waste. And then also wanted to ask again, if it might be too late for the town to do this, because it's upon us now, but wanted to ask the Sustainability Advisory Board to plan for compost, recycling, and trash for Ridgway events. I think we did it in 2020.
Let me in now.
30s where we were sorting. I did some of the sorting. Bluegrass does it. Some of the other Telluride festivals do it. Eco Action Partners offers that service, or Dirty Sturdies.
Yeah,
And,
Dirty Sturdies picks up the compost.
He used to go to the markets too, but he's charging now.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Judy and I coordinated monitoring of the barrels for 3 or 4 years, but haven't done it the last couple of years. We certainly could do that. We did make the change last year, actually came out of this committee, to use aluminum cups. But that's great, but you need to recycle or bring them back. And, I think getting people to bring their aluminum cups back, the only concern I would have with bringing your own cup is they're different sizes, and how do you figure out,
Charge.
you can start arguing about how much beer you put in it. But
Have one cup to measure and then pour it into anybody's, you know what I mean?
Oh,
that's true.
what an engineering solution. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, bring your own cup or bring your aluminum cup back, they are reusable. I think that's a great
Two things, I think something we could do this year would be, bring your own cup, advertise that, that's easy to do. And then, maybe for next year, or if it's not too late for this year, set up the compost, recycle, trash sorting. Eco Action Partners can do that for a fee, where they actually have people at the 3 receptacles. So when someone went to a food truck and they've got an aluminum cup and they want to just throw it all in the trash, you have someone there with gloves sorting it out like they do at Bluegrass.
And I think there are people on this committee who have volunteered to assist with that. And in the past, we used Rock. We got Rock members, so I think we could probably do it free of charge if we work at it, you know, I mean.
You would just have to coordinate the
We
comp.
can advertise it, get you free entry to the music.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, it should also get you a free beer, but
Oh,
you know, that's never been a problem, you know, so.
Usually just drink the one people are throwing out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you refill your cup, right?
But for one step, I mean, that's good to have it volunteered, but I was hoping that maybe the advisory board could recommend that the town operationalize that as a practice, like when there are events, the town will do compost, recycling, trash, or require the concert promoter, you know, if it's an individual, like, you know, Lucas Nelson or one of those types of things, we need you to do this service for us, and we can provide these vendors, whether it be Rock or Eco Action Partners, that can provide it.
Well, the way they do it in Telluride Bluegrass.
To operationalize as like a town policy.
I volunteered through Eco Action to collect composting and recycling at Bluegrass in exchange for a day's pass. Of course, that's, you know, expensive pass.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. We'll do that too. I volunteer here for a beer.
Cheap.
But, and, you know, the other, I mean, I do think it's nice to stand at the barrels, and I did it for a whole lot of years, and, you know, you use them for drums to play along and all that, and people do appreciate it. But you can also just at the end of the night, go and look in the bags and with your gloves and move stuff around. And I've done that too, and that's certainly quick and
One advantage of doing it while they're there is
it's
they
educating.
kind of learn.
Yeah, that, yeah.
Well, the way they do it, and I know you guys all know at the festivals in Telluride, they have that huge dumpster.
Right.
Is that what you're envisioning?
Well, we don't have as many people
That
here,
volume,
and so
volume, yeah.
what they did in the past when it was more formal, I think Dirty Sturdy's borrowed Eco Actions. They have these pieces of plywood with circles cut in them, and it says compost, recycle, trash, and you have 3 bins, and you stand there. At Bluegrass, there's way more people, so they need the big dumpsters. We have fewer people, so just, you know, your big 55-gallon trash cans seem to work. And then I remember the park staff was coming around and just checking if anything got real full, they'd swap you out. And that worked really well.
Yeah, we used to have those damn compostable cups. And I would take them home, and I had a whole month of events in my garage. And then I bought a grinder, and I'd have to grind the cups up because they wouldn't take them at the compost place.
Jeez.
Man, that was over and above. So
Compostable.
because they don't compost well, and so they need to be partially broken down. And
I'm a head start.
I gave my chipper to Dirty Sturdy's, you know, and let them worry about that. I'm glad not to be doing that now.
Yeah, I want to pay.
But I do think we can get people to man, you know, that is one of our goals for this year. And is that on your list, Sheridan? So, yeah.
That's how it made its way onto the goals list. What he's talking about.
Yeah.
Compost at events. And so this is a good conversation to have, because we do have budgeted the service that Jake's talking about, and we've already had conversations with Eco Action Partners about providing that service, provided that SAB doesn't want to do that. So we could,
So, in terms of operationalizing this in the future, would the best way to go in terms of, from the standpoint of the town, not having to take on another thing, would it be something to add to our contract to event organizers and say you have to do this, or would that welch some of the,
well, we only have one concert series, Love Your Valley, but we don't.
well, what about like the Ridgway Rendezvous and,
Oh, you're talking about requiring that at vendors for any event?
well, that was what you're suggesting that.
That's what I
I'm
was
talking about the concert promoter doing that.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to understand the scope that you're proposing.
You know. Whatever you guys think would be right, I'm just pitching it as an idea. I think the summer concert series is a big waste driver, just as it is like a beer event and eating food. That, I think that's a great place to start, but trying to get that set up for all events would be that much better.
It wouldn't hurt to just start with the concert series and see what we could do, you know.
I mean, a concert, a venue the size of Bluegrass, Planet Bluegrass, was it Steve Sheminski and his name? He works with Eco to pay for the composting and recycling.
Oh.
But he's doing, this is a, multi-million-dollar operations, not free concerts. So he's got money, he's got budget.
Well,
to
the
do that.
town's putting on these concerts, so theoretically, the town would pay for if that's what you're saying, that the promoter.
Well,
would
yeah,
pay.
yeah, I mean, there's a promoter that Pam works with to bring in the acts, but I don't think he's in the same league as Shumansky with
Right.
Planet Bluegrass.
So why don't we try to, Sheridan and I can work on trying to get some volunteers for the summer series, and then we can use Eco Action Partners to fill in the gaps.
You're saying you have some budget in this year's budget already for Eagle Action Partners to do some.
Yeah, that was the plan. Yep.
Well, why don't you just have them
So
do
why
it?
not just use them?
If it's budgeted.
Well, it wasn't an SAB goal, so.
Exactly.
Right.
You can, I mean, I don't mind doing
So we
it.
just
If you're gonna
support
go to the concert, it's not a bad thing to do.
It's already in the plan to
And I
have
think
Eco.
everybody on the SAU.
Some
has to do
sort
it.
of service, maybe not eco, but some sort of sorting service.
I see.
As soon as you all made your goals, we kind of had this thought that perhaps there'd be an initiative here to have, the volunteer effort through the SAB to do that. But I mean, if that's not possible, yeah, the budget is there.
I mean, if we'd still need a budget to ask the Dirty Sturdies or someone to compost, right? Like to pay for the pickup or the.
Right.
That's already done. I mean, the town already.
Oh, the town already has that. for the
We have our
smaller-
own.
The compost is.
Well, we have
already-
the compost pile, but
It's not
that we add to, but.
Yeah,
I don't think it goes to that, but I thought
That's-
y'all had used Dirty Sturdies
At the concert
for
series.
the.
Yeah, that was last time we did that was in 2023. That's
Oh,
what
really?
Rick was talking about.
Okay.
So we'd have
But
to,
it's not an ongoing recurring thing.
Sturdy wouldn't pick it up for free if we collect it for them.
Just business.
Yeah, I think that would be a charge.
You've got either Dirty Sturdies or Ruin or
Right.
3XM, 3MX.
Mm.
Right. Yeah, so we can see what the,
But if you have rock volunteers who want to do it, then Eco Action can coordinate them, because they've got the, the lids already made. It's all painted with the hole on it that says compost, recycling, trash. They can bring that. They're used to coordinating volunteers. So rather than asking Rock to do that coordination, Eco Action, they do that regularly. So we can just help supply them with volunteers.
Those things are well seasoned with crusty ketchup on them and all that.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, no, that'd be fine. Although the town does have tops that similarly
They
say
do.
composting, recycling, and
Recycle their compost, or do you know, what do they do with their compost?
Dirty Sturdy,
Yeah,
turn it over and,
then what happens?
I think he sells
Where
it
does
to
it go?
Tons.
We sell it.
yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, so.
Well,
And he'll pick it up from you here in town. You can put your bucket by the
we
curb.
work the festivals and have him pick up the compost.
yeah, I agree.
Either that or Bruin or you know.
Nice to
Did it
support.
go somewhere, not just.
Local.
Dump somewhere.
local
Right,
garbage.
I've heard rumors that, some of the Bruin and whatnot,
Yeah.
they're not even recycled.
Exactly.
You mean compost?
No
I'm
recycle when
willing
they
to
pick up.
volunteer. I'm in town. I love trash.
All right, good.
Okay, I'll call Dirty and get a.
I've heard you talk trash.
That's why I love it.
I'll get a quote maybe from him to see about the concert series pickup, what it would cost, or do we? Would that be
I
helpful?
think we have that info.
We do, okay.
So, yeah, no,
That's
you don't
good.
need to do that.
So then,
But
for this year, we're not going to use Eco Action Partners, we'll do it with ourselves and with.
Well, no, I think they can fill in if we have trouble filling.
I mean, there's 5 concerts, so you all would need to figure out
It's a
what your
lot of-
bandwidth to volunteer for the
Right.
duration of the event would be.
Right.
So one experience passing on from the town council is the town council sponsors the highway cleanup. Not many people know about it, but only the town council people show up to do that. And it's a bit of a, it's been an ongoing thing, source of jokes, but
And
it's an additional.
manager.
And then he shows up, he hands out the bags. We walk the highway, but my point is that, it's a bit of a burden, to be the only ones volunteering when you're already putting all these volunteer hours in. So I would be careful about committing this small group to doing a lot of that work, because you're gonna burn out quickly and you're gonna start to resent, say, I just want to go sit and watch the music kind of thing.
True.
Well, and I certainly don't mind doing it once, I think it'd be
Yeah.
good education, but we have guests
There's-
coming in all summer and so
Right.
I don't want to be
Well, the good,
trash.
put them to work.
Well, I'm just curious, is
Might be
it
a
close
blast.
How good of friends are they?
to 50-gallon drums somewhere, or is it 2
I
or
think it's
3
two.
all
Is it-
over the
is it
place?
two usually?
We have 2 or 3.
In one
And
place
in the,
or spread out around? So
Yeah.
you need more than one volunteer.
yeah,
per-
you need, and traditionally, we've had an early shift and a late shift. So,
Well, you have it all
so you just do half.
organized on an early shift.
like I said, we did it for years.
Wow.
But that was mostly through rock.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
so
Did you have your green apron on?
our yellow,
A yellow apron?
yeah.
I have an image of you,
Mm.
because you're 8'6".
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take that, okay.
Yeah,
So again, I'm just trying to understand, Eco Action Partners will do this, they would do the coordinating of volunteers. If we say, can you handle our trash composting for the concert series? They'd say, yes, we'll help you organize volunteers or something.
I don't know how they're gonna coordinate that as well
Well,
as
we
we
should be
would,
coordinating it from here.
because Rock is not gonna give.
We have one-
Like Sheridan, who's young and knows a lot of people. in
We have
town.
1 month though, that's the only worry I have. It's like, it's right around the corner.
Well, let's just,
Well, you just-
work at it during the next week and see where we are, and then. we-
Okay.
all these, you
But
know,
we're
there's
good.
the
Eco
park
Action
committee,
Partners to
there's
fill in.
tons of
But to
people.
clarify, Preston, is a town already budgeted money to do this without volunteers? Or, I mean, are we volunteering on top of an already paid for scenario?
Yeah,
It's an already thought about cushioned kind of, like budgetary allocation for the event.
Certainly the taking away of it, I don't know the right word for that, but removal, thank you. That's gonna cost some money, right? But the actual collection of it, the volunteering effort.
Yeah.
Was there
that's all.
funding to pay for people to do
Right.
that?
We got the conversations with Eco Action before.
Okay.
The money that we save with volunteers, we're gonna use towards making the town net zero by 2030.
I haven't-
oh, there you go.
I mean, I dig that. yeah.
Well,
So,
But I think this is a good conversation to have, because this is what you all have been talking about. What I remember you all talking about during the goal setting. was-
Yeah.
Right.
Joyce was a huge proponent of this, and she would want us to
Right. She-
follow it through.
mhm.
Just got a
Having a
BB.
baby.
She had her baby, I think.
Babies, it's getting old. It's at least 3 months old, 2 months.
Okay, so we can try to get volunteers this week and see how it goes.
First Friday, there's all kinds of people running.
That could be a sign up time.
On Clinton Street, yeah.
Basically just ask friends and family if they're willing to volunteer, do it.
Anybody going to the Rock picnic?
Mm-mm.
What is that?
Is that Friday?
I can I mean, I know the people who've done it, so I can send them notes and I can, ask around at the Rock Picnic or.
You can alienate them at the picnic.
I know, right? I hate to put that on you.
But those people
Two
work.
tiers per festival or more?
Four
I'm sorry?
to, four to.
4 to 6 people per,
Two
Yeah,
shifts.
yeah, 4 to 6.
4 to 6.
Times two?
Times 4. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's
Well, times 2 per night.
Five.
Oh, there's
Five, yeah.
So 30 people.
Yeah,
That's not,
That's not too bad. Yeah.
no,
pretty sure.
because a number of people will do it a couple of times, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be up for it as long as I'm in town.
Same, I could do one.
Yeah, that'd give me something to do rather than wandering around, getting drunk.
Yeah, well, you
Lot to
get,
be said for
you get a
that.
free beer, so you get drunk anyway.
We're already giving out free beer. I like it.
People are very generous if you're standing at the trash cans.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah, I did that to you.
All right.
Here's
do you
another.
advertise that you give a free beer?
For me,
No.
drugs.
I think we can say you'll get a free beer, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if the town was doing the 10,
yeah.
give you as many as you wanted.
Yeah.
The Charbonneau is spearheading the 10th this year.
Oh.
I'm sure they'd be amenable to,
Okay.
So we could just ask them, like, give them a call.
well, yeah, we can just make sure they're aware
Yeah,
of the service.
it wonon't be a problem.
So that
Okay.
brings up an interesting identity issue. What if we were to ask the town for budgets for T-shirts, says SAB, recycling crew or something that identifies us such that it's easier to go get a free beer when you're wearing that shirt.
Plus it's good, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, but
PR for us.
let's leave the recycling crew off of it.
Just
have
SAB.
SAB, yeah.
Yeah, composting.
Yeah.
Fermenting.
Baseball T-shirt with the SAB.
Trash,
Yeah.
trash people.
Yeah.
SAB trackers.
Accurate.
So
I think that-
along those lines, one of the things beyond the shirt is the newly adopted Earth flag.
Oh,
So the town adopted the Earth.
Oh, that's
flag.
right, yeah.
This is something I wanted to bring up is how does SAB promote this, put it on our website? Certainly the link to the resolution, and maybe it's a little patch on the shoulder on the
Perfect.
T-shirt.
Mhm.
Love it.
All right.
Cute flag.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for
Thanks.
discussing.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Jay. So the next item, discussion regarding regional expansion of the Green Grants Program. I'm currently the person attending all these different meetings, and so this is when I got roped into. The Green Grants Subcommittee met on May 14th, and the main part of that discussion was, what the process is and how you evaluate, and then Uray County is brought in because Telluride Foundation has put in, I think, 90,000 they want available to all the communities and not just the communities that are putting money currently into the Green Grants Program. That's Telluride and San Miguel County and I think Mountain Village, but Uray County does not put money into the Green Grants Program. So there's discussion of what part of the pie that we would get, and do you base that on, census, or do you base that on need, or how do you base that? So I kind of represented our county in trying to get as much of the money as we could, but we're probably looking at maybe $50,000 that, and we would need to form a committee, somebody from Uray, somebody from Ridgway, to, at the end of the year, figure out how we give out those grants. And the grants, they say they set a cap of 25,000 per application. They say most will fall between 5,000 and 10,000. Large grant applications can be partially funded. And they agreed to incorporate a need-based element into the application form. So kind of what your income bracket is, because the goal is to really give this to people who need it the most.
What kinds of, what's fodder for the grant?
What's fodder?
Yeah, I mean, what can you apply for purchasing
You know,
things or,
Yeah, so it's,
would that to be something sustainable related, or is it high efficiency appliances for your business, or what would
all the above. I mean, they even allowed you to replace windows or doors and, so it could be insulation, it could be windows or doors, it could be a heat pump, it could,
I'm replacing my battery system of my business.
you can
which is my
apply,
house.
but we're not gonna give it to you.
But it's only for businesses.
No, it's businesses and individuals. I made the push that why can't towns be eligible too? Cause I'd love to see us use this as part of our 2030 goal. But that didn't fly for this year.
Is the Green Grants basically Telluride Foundation?
No, they're just,
Who is it then? Who is the Green Grants?
Eco Action Partners has this program and different communities and counties donate money.
Oh,
And then people in those counties can apply for the money that the county or town, contributed.
I think the largest contributors have been Telluride, Mountain Village, and San Miguel County.
Right.
But now that the Telluride Foundation, as you're explaining, has given this additional, is it 90,000?
90,000, I think.
But they
Yeah.
want it to not just be earmarked for Telluride, Mountain Village, or San Miguel County. They want it for the entirety of the region. So that's what,
I see.
So we get a portion of that
I
90,000.
see.
And so San Juan County is also involved in, it, right? They're getting a piece of it. It's part of their Team Gold thing.
Yeah. So
When you say we get a portion of it, or do you mean we as just the town?
no, we as the applicants to the Green Grants program, you'll have a committee that just, decides how the
Who's
money.
we that gets to,
So
anybody,
the eligible applicants within Ridgway,
anybody,
Uray County, anybody.
individual government, anything. Okay.
Not government,
Not government.
right? Individuals and businesses. And,
Hmm.
I don't know how far $50,000 is gonna go in Uray County,
Hmm.
Yeah, no windows, that's expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it makes me a little concerned when
The juice versus the squeeze kind of.
Hmm.
yeah, you market it real big and you only have 10 people that you can give 5,000 each. I think Telluride Foundation would love for us to come up with 100 people asking for it. And they could only give it to 10 and then they can go out to their donors and say, see how many people, so that,
Help sustain it and promote more.
yeah, it's fundraising for them. It shows the need.
So to be clear, are you the subcommittee member?
I stood in, but if anybody else would like to do this, there's probably a meeting this next week and there's and there's no reason that we can't have several people. If you volunteer to be on the board to evaluate these, then you are not eligible to get a prize. But otherwise.
Cool. Well, on the heels of this, I have two other grant opportunities I'd like to introduce when the time is right. But while we're on the subject of Eco Action Partners, and we'll have Jake is here, who's the chairman of the board, right? For Eco,
Snuffles Energy.
oh, Snuffles Energy Board. So Kim is soliciting a new board member. Was it for, I think it was for Eco Action Partners, so not Snuffles, or is it for Snuffles? I've lost track. I can look it up.
Well, the Snapple's Energy Board is composed of
Just so,
basically everyone
Right.
who is a participant is the board member.
so it's eco then.
It must be the
Yeah.
board for equal action, and I'm not involved in that.
That's right, even though you used to be. So just to quickly summarize that situation, she's reached out to Mayor Clark and myself and Preston, trying to seek a elected official to become a member of the Eco Action Board. And we're gonna bring it up, I think we're gonna bring it up at the next meeting, next week.
Next week.
If there aren't any volunteers, I suggested I might be willing to do it through the term of my council, which is only another year. But I also suggested to Preston that maybe we introduce concept of having an SAB member join the Eco Action Board. So and tell me if I'm out of line here with that idea, because I didn't prep you that I was gonna bring it up here today, but I briefly mentioned it to Sheridan the other day, just in passing, and she's kind of expressed some interest. So I guess the question is my guess is the path would be that it's gonna come before the council to see if somebody wants to volunteer. If not, I might, but if somebody here would be willing or interested in becoming a board member, I think it's a 2-year term or something like that, or when I asked her what the term was, she said it was for life. Which was tongue in cheek, but just some food for thought. If nobody on the town council is interested and they wanted to get elected officials or staff members from the various municipalities, but I think SAB participation would qualify if there's any interest in that. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question to ask. I think, I haven't heard back from Emma or Kim on it, but I mean, best practice is to have a governing body representative or staff, just to ensure that, you know, the organization doesn't get, volunteered or sent any sort of direction that they either don't want to, right? But,
Yeah, because there's some discussions like how much does each town have to pay and whatnot that, I mean,
stuff like that.
yeah, I sit in on the SEB, you know, but I can't really,
And that could more or less just.
can't contribute to that.
Right, the funding.
And it's
discussion.
removed from some of the intricacies of the governing body conversations, you know,
Right.
budget implications. It can be difficult.
So I think Terry-
Awkward too.
So probably not. We'll see.
Terry would do it, let Terry do it for a year and then we
For a
can talk
year.
about it.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll see.
So back to this, does anybody want to be on Green Grant Subcommittee? I mean, there's only like 4 meetings this year. You're interested? Good. It's,
That was easy.
it's an hour and a half meeting 4 times. The
Where?
second meeting is
Where's the
Zoom
meeting?
call. I
Oh,
mean,
Zoom.
it's over in Telluride, but it's Zoom.
Well,
So, but you know, yeah, it's just working through the program and figuring out how we're gonna do it and how we're gonna promote it. So, I may call in too, but I'll send you the link. So,
Well, it's helpful. I can, Siobhan, is that how you say her name? Siobhan, Sheridan, were you here when Siobhan was here a couple of meetings ago? Did you meet her?
Oh, I was on the Zoom, yeah.
You're on the Zoom? I can send an email to her introducing that you'd be interested in joining that committee.
Okay.
And let you all take it from there if that's helpful.
Sure.
you can do that,
Yeah,
but I
that'd be
don't
helpful.
think it matters. I mean, I can tell her too. I mean, you know, I'm on the committee now.
Oh, I
But I'm-
didn't get, so you're
Yeah.
already on the committee?
Yeah,
So who's on the
I-
committee currently? So you're a county or
I'm the only Uray County person. So she asked me if I would be the Uray County rep. She didn't have anybody else. So I said, you know, okay, here's.
so you're the
meeting.
only one
No,
telling
that
people
works.
where the money's going, huh?
No, the committee, I'll be long gone by then, but the committee, this is just setting up the program. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Then, yeah, I missed that part, so thanks
Yeah.
for that. So yeah, if you don't mind letting her know, that's cool, that's great.
yeah. I mean, we're gonna need to pull together committee to do this. So,
So can I quickly just introduce these 2 grant opportunities? I'll make it as quick as possible. I'll share my screen if I can, if you allow me to. Let's see, where's the share button? There it is.
I need to,
Only the host has this power. It's
just a
just,
second. Should be able to now.
can I try it? Screen, All right. Not that, shoot, start broadcast. See what it does.
Just looking for me, this Michelle now, or it's gonna be on Green Grants.
Oh, good. Okay,
There
excellent.
we go. So, we're part of Region 10, and Shay Coburn, who used to be the planning, director, what was her title? Director of plan, head of planning here. Planner Ridgway. She went to the city of Delta, was planner there for a while, I think. But she's now moved to Region 10. So I get these emails that all these grant opportunities. And the one that I wanted to point out was this one here at the bottom, says low impact accelerator to support local governments with policy adoption to bolster local resilience, reduce emissions, and advance other state priorities such as improved air quality. So there's a webinar on the 17th. I haven't registered for it yet, or maybe I did, I can't remember, but I can send this out to people, but let me just click on
That's
what
great.
this accelerator program is all about. And it looks to me like my interpretation of it is it's possible that we could apply for up to, there's 50 million available, $200,000 awards for, if you read the background here, the local implementation, mitigation, and policy action accelerator will provide a total of 50 million in grants to support local governments with policy adoption, i.e., net zero by 2030, to bolster local resilience, reduce emissions, and advance other state priorities such as improved air quality. Funding for this program comes from U.S. EPA. Impact Accelerator is designed to maximize emission reductions by promoting policies that extend beyond state requirements in 4 categories: buildings, land use, transportation, and waste. Applicants can apply for funding to support policy adoption only or policy adoption and project implementation. So I mentioned this to Dave the other day at pickleball. My thought was if it works out, maybe we could apply for up to $200,000 to implement our greenhouse gas inventory work, hire a consultant to go through and do everything we've been talking about on your timeline or portions of your timeline.
Either that,
200,000 for policy adoption, 1.8 million per award for implementation.
yeah,
So that's huge. I
Yeah,
didn't catch that part.
yeah, so I'd like to see us implement.
Yeah, right,
Because,
because we've adopted the policy already.
yeah, and that will, the people in the back row who are concerned about, the cost to the town, if we can defray it with something like this, that would be ideal.
So there's a webinar and the dates are not on that page. Get back to that email. Yep, this first, and the grant opens on the 16th. It closes on August 1st. Second round will open in the fall. So I think we should seriously look into this.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'll email this email out to you, Dave, and you can distribute it then from Shay. So that's one of the 2 opportunities. The other one I saw was
Where's that money coming from?
from the EPA in this case, I thought it said. Yeah.
Really? Under Trump?
Well, let me go back to look.
Well, the question
It
is,
said,
it didn't start with Trump, and will it still be there?
funding for this program comes from U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's Climate Pollution Reduction Grant Program. So she just sent this out last week, so it must be active, yeah. If it,
The Senate hadn't met yet.
yeah, right. So anyway, it's worth chasing in my
Sure,
opinion.
I agree.
The other one was, if I can figure out how to close that, is this one, which is all about EVs and fleet operation, funding opportunities for energy efficiency and resiliency. The Charge Ahead program, we talked about, possibly replacing the town EV charger. There's fast chargers, but I also noticed fleet zero emission resources opportunity grants and clean fleet vehicle and technology grant programs. So this might be something more directly applicable to the town's future purchases for EVs, but it's possible that SAB could work with trying to obtain one of these grants and take the burden off of Preston. Because I noticed lately Preston went from a notebook this size. Look at his notebook now. So he's trying to reduce what he does.
That's great.
And we got direction at the last regular council meeting to make efforts to replace the obsolete equipment for the EV chargers in the town hall parking lot or the Hartwell Park parking lot.
Right.
And these are all, we're working with the Colorado Energy Office to explore these grant opportunities. And there's also conversation with Eco Action Partners and there's so many subcommittees. What's is it the EV Readiness
Mhm.
Committee?
Cohort or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Because there's interest on their part, getting a level 3 charger somewhere. I'm not sure that's the best place
Yeah.
for it, but we at least have the direction to replace what we have currently with level 2 capabilities
Mhm.
and to change to a pay model.
Right.
So,
Yeah, the Charge Ahead Colorado grant is what we used initially to get those. I don't know if we can use that again. I don't know.
I don't know, we haven't furthered enough, but I guess that's a long-winded way of saying, I'd be working with Julie in the front office and she's already this is her project, so.
Okay, good. In fact, I just noticed now that I had sent this to you and you said, yes, I received these, thanks. So I didn't need to bring the second one up.
I get all those emails from regions from.
You should have got this too. Okay.
Yeah. Those are all-
Well, so I would like to forward the one on the incubator to you and then to distribute to everybody and maybe we can, we've got to move on it before August 1st.
Mhm.
And plus, you can register for the webinar and I suggest that however many of us can attend the webinar, we'll have a better feel for what to discuss next meeting. That gives us a month then to actually apply.
Okay, yeah,
If we decide that that's something we want to pursue.
I can go to that webinar.
I'd like to do the webinar.
Okay,
So you'll send out.
I'll forward it out, yeah, to Dave and then let
Yeah.
you distribute it.
Sure.
Or I can, I don't know if I'm allowed to distribute. I guess I am, to everybody. Yeah,
Bye.
yeah. Just don't apply all. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take care of that.
Yeah.
Be sure. Back to the quick notion of getting an SAB shirts, just don't, that may, besides getting SAB shirts for the SAB members, what if Dana, for example, could design a cool shirt about sustainability? On the back, it said Sustainability Advisory Board, Dark Sky, and some of the initiatives that we're working on. And then we sell them at these events as a fundraiser.
That's a great
And
idea.
then we're passing the word. People are gonna wear Ridgway sustainability. I'm a proud sustainability, I believe in sustainability, Earth flag, whatever.
About education.
But you've got that artistic flair. Maybe you could design a,
Yeah.
front back
I
t-shirt.
already designed a logo that.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure.
but then we could look into getting Fishbone over here in town to print up the shirts. So
Thinking you're going.
Supporting
great.
local. I know, you're on it.
this just came up.
Like,
It's just an infliction.
Great. Thanks, Terry.
That's it.
That's a great opportunity.
Do you want to think about looking at this?
Love to
Yeah.
do that. I just.
There's something up on the front that is just all about I believe in sustainability. With back, it's like, Sustainability Advisory Board and
Right.
maybe, some of the things that we promote on the website, like dark sky,
Right.
Town of Ridgway is dark sky, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if dark sky has to be up there, but yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Then the flag on the shirt,
Oh, the flag.
kind of like a US, like a Army guy that has a US flag on it.
That's funny.
Might be Earth Army.
If SAB starts raising money, how does that work?
Oh, let's give it right back to the
How
town.
to go to town?
Or,
Yeah, the SAB doesn't have its own.
Yeah, we don't-
Or we could maybe the town could set up a separate fund that we put into that could be used for some of the activities that we go to the town for.
But for an initiative like that, we need to goal setting for
Mhm.
2026. And as we
Okay.
all want to focus efforts on, then we can figure out that program, right? And those mechanics.
Doesn't happen as fast as I thought about it, you mean?
It really could, but it wouldn't be good governance kind of
Right.
thing. So, we could have shirts planned and ready by Friday or Saturday, you know what I mean? But like the model for, we're gonna sell them and
Right.
what the money goes towards.
I'm concerned we have a lot of other things on our plate. Yeah. So should we go back to the agenda?
Fleeting thought, yeah, let me get off this. All right, stop. There you go, thank you. By the way, there is a company, it's not the nonprofit that designed this. There is a company that sells these. It's a for-profit company. They sell flags for everything, but they're the ones that carry
What's
this
that
logo.
flag called?
Pardon me, this is the flag for the planet Earth.
It's the international flag of planet Earth.
International flag.
And-
matter.
And if you hadn't heard, the Ridgway Town Council passed a resolution to fly it along with the state and US flag at Town Park.
Wow.
And then I also suggested that once the Sustainability Advisory Park is up and running, that we have a flagpole that has this on it as well. But yeah, we're the first community in the world to adopt flying the flag at Town Park.
That's cool. Wow.
It's kind of goofy, but it's neat.
Space to create resiliency of microgrid.
Ariel wrote me back today. She said September is looking the best. She also said, or she asked us if we would be willing to, let me open this, share, dang it, I'm offline. She said one of the first Fridays in September, there's an artist who's willing to share the space with us while their photographs are up. If we want to come in and also do our video and have all our other stuff going on at the same time.
Just that there'll be an active exhibit going on.
Exactly.
Huge.
I think that's fun. It's fun by me. As long as it's not Edwards. Sorry. No, I mean that mostly because it takes up a lot of space.
Right.
Yep.
He's in there right now, actually.
Let's see. The first Friday in September,
Good day.
which.
Yeah.
That's sort of a long.
I mean, it gives us enough time to really plan, because I know we were talking about making poster boards and getting food and all that,
Inviting some of the other participants,
yeah, like SMPA and
the SMPA for one, ECO for another, maybe POW. And maybe air some movies. This is what we're about to talk about, I guess.
oh, you guys don't have.
I'd like to next talk about the EV coordination, the EV event, because that's coming up even sooner.
Okay,
August 9th, which is Saturday, and there's a lot to do. And by the way, I'm expecting a grandbaby on July 31st, and it's a first for this woman, so I may not be there.
Okay.
So, you know,
fair.
but
Congratulations.
yeah,
How many?
Sorry.
This is
have one now, and I'm adding two this year.
You've been busy.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah,
Is that in the works or is that a demand?
that's a demand. We have one July 31st and we have one August or October 2nd now.
Awesome. Congratulations.
So, yeah, thank you. It's,
So real quick, just for my notes and my reference, are we for the main hub event, we're looking at Friday, September 5th?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a done deal then? I can start talking to SMPA and
She hasn't fully confirmed. She asked me if we're okay. I said yes, and then I'm waiting for her to say.
once you get that confirmed, then I'll start casting the net a little wider.
Okay.
good.
Sorry, Dave, but
No, thank you. So I have sent notes to, Carl Schaefer, who's our contact person with Ridgway Trains, to make sure that the parking lot is still ours on that day. We need to decide on the hours. As you can see on the reverse poster, last year it was 9:30 to 12:30.
Remind me, was this concurrent with another event?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the arts and crafts.
The arts and crafts, yeah. So this year we had talked about electrification as well as EV. And we talked about use of this room to have some electrification events, talks, whatever. But that needs to be coordinated. I can coordinate with local EV drivers, and, we have a release that they sign that the town has approved. What we did last year, I tried to have 1 to 2 per EV model with about 20 cars. But, and also I've reached out to Dopa Zilli at Clear, and she took Martine's place. He last year coordinated with EV dealers to attend. And so I'll have her, round up some EV dealers to join us. And I think she also has a talk that she's willing to give. There's a lot of advertising that would be good to do. And I listed a number of things there that would be helpful, and I would love some help in
I'm down to
kind of
help.
leading advertising.
Okay, I can help with
That'd be
something.
wonderful. Yeah, and do we buy a booth at the Rendezvous Festival?
Wait, is it the same time?
Yeah, so it's the same time as the Rendezvous Festival. We've been very successful in getting EVs and EV drivers. We've been less successful in getting people to come over and look at them. One thing we talked about was having a booth in the Rendezvous Festival so that we could actually grab people and tell them there's a talk here and there's an event over there. And
Which brings up an interesting point. If we're gonna do the ride and drive for 3 hours on Saturday, the festival's 2 days, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's 2
And
days.
maybe the electrification thing would be on the Sunday or the second day. Otherwise, especially if you can buy a booth, because you're only gonna be advertising for a 3-hour event and a 2-day festival.
Right. Yeah, you could.
can you buy a booth?
Sorry,
Can you buy a booth?
you can. I have not yet.
How much are they?
$350, 10 by 10 booth.
Wow.
So, but,
Probably having a booth, would it just be us standing there, or would that be where we would have Clear and Eco Action and whoever?
Maybe SMPA with some electric appliances or something.
Because last year we had all that over
Hmm.
there and nobody showed up.
right. So, yeah, we could put Eco Action Partners and SNPA and others at that booth.
Get them to cost share the booth
Mhm.
or pay for it.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
So,
SMPA can afford that.
but
Speaking for them, like I used to.
they can't. So, no, I think that's a good idea. I mean, we can also get a 10 by 20 booth. 10 by 10 or 10 by 20. I didn't write the cost down for a 10 by
Could, if
20.
we could a 10 by 20, want to park an EV in there? An actual vehicle
That'd be cool.
So,
or electric, maybe the town's electric cart or something. Well, they'll probably be using it during the festival.
or we could just have, electric appliances like a lawnmower and a weed whacker and whatever. And, that way you learn about SMPA rebates on all that stuff.
Great idea.
Yeah, right.
So,
Another thought is for you to contact Shane Schmaltz to see if we can have his electric electric Ford F-150 Lightning as part of something. It may be on duty, so it may go flying out of here, but
has it arrived?
it will
it's
be by
right,
the
yeah, it's in Grand Junction, it's being
broken.
fitted now with everything.
Oh, good.
It was delayed a little bit, but in the next 2.5 weeks, it'll be
Excellent.
service.
That'd be great if
That'd be
Shane
great
could.
to have that.
Yeah, right in the booth with a quick exit in case you have to go chase criminals.
Or, yeah,
Or-
if Shane could
somebody-
somebody across the event.
Yeah.
Or across the street, that'd be great.
And Ryan is driving an EV hybrid right now, pickup truck, the brand new F-150 hybrid, right?
Is it EV?
It's a hybrid.
It's a hybrid,
hybrid
but
plug-in.
it's not a plug-in.
It's not a plug-in, but it's
I
a
don't-
hybrid.
I don't count hybrids that are not.
Oh,
plug-ins.
so
No,
Ours
that's
are-
not, that's not, no partial
you
credit.
get my nose up that high.
But yeah, I think we do need to coordinate with SMPA. I talked with Wiley, it's been a while.
Well, and they have, that would be another cool thing. They have the electric van now. The passenger van that they commute, you know, it's a 10-seater that they commute
Ooh.
employees back and forth to Montrose. And it's,
VA does? Oh,
yeah, it's a
electric
transit.
utility,
Yeah, it's an EV
Yeah.
transit. So that ought to show up because that's a much bigger deal.
They brought that last,
Oh, did they?
last
They
time,
had-
yeah.
It's
So,
fully electric,
Mhm.
really?
yeah,
Oh,
So-
and Stephen in Public Works has a non-plug-in hybrid.
He's
But
like
we
Ryan.
won't invite him.
good. We'll invite
He
Steve.
could be at the back of the line.
Um,
So did you do a parade last time, an EV parade? I forget.
You know-
We did like we did for Earth Day that one day
we did a parade, gosh, 5 years ago,
for the Earth Day thing.
Earth Day. thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I coordinated that and we had about 20 EVs and then we did an EV demo at the high school.
School, yeah. And that's when I turned over the bug to the school. That's
Yeah.
what I did.
So this is actually our fourth EV event in town in 5 years, so. But I like the idea of getting a booth and putting SMPA and Eco Action Partners and, you know, our yard tools in the booth.
Me too.
So then, what were we envisioning this room for,
Talks, if we
if
do,
we need talks?
if we do talks. Yeah,
My thought might be if we were to locate all the EV or the electrification stuff in the booth, we'll be talking for 2 days straight. You know, in the booth, with volunteers, SMPA. I don't know how many
I'm not
people
sure.
want to come inside and sit at.
I'm not sure we need to do that too.
Agree.
Last year, Martine had wanted to do that, and I don't know if Dova wants to do that, but I agree that we could.
A lot more interactive.
Where do you get
Right.
the $350 for the booth? Does the town give it to us?
The town might give it to us if SMPA doesn't, but I can
Oh.
approach SMPA first.
Yeah, we can explore that. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully they. Who does that? Weehawken? Rendezvous Weehawken, isn't it?
Yeah,
Hopefully
Yeah.
they could provide a discount when we're just doing informational stuff, not selling anything.
Mhm.
And
that would be great, but I'll let you. I didn't hear that from them.
Oh, you already asked.
Oh, I talked to them several months ago and, you know, just explored it and they said, you know, about what we can do is, you know, you can get a booth.
Okay, well,
yeah.
that's their deal, but.
Yeah, exactly.
That's different than the Fête de Musique, right? That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's the
Right.
arts and crafts thing.
So,
Speaking of SMPA, their annual meeting is Thursday, free dinner. Starting at 4 right here in Ridgway. And then an annual meeting and they're giving away door prizes. One is a 65-inch TV. So get a free meal and maybe win a TV.
Okay.
And here they're
Is it all electric?
all electric TV. Yeah.
yeah, it is.
It's a manual. It's a manual. No remote.
It's propane.
And, you
Doesn't
know,
plug in.
I thought about it, but didn't have the energy. It is an opportunity. We could put a table there. We could,
Well, they have that.
I know.
Yeah.
So SAB could.
That's short notice. That's 2 days.
Yeah, but that, like I say, I thought about it, but I
Oh, I see.
didn't want to do it. But it is an opportunity for next year if we want to.
Eco will be there baking their solar cookies and stuff.
Yeah.
I think,
So,
sure.
Would we,
Is the commissioner gonna be there? Plan to be there.
would we plan, to do the booth both days or just on the ninth with, in conjunction with the EV drive?
I would suggest if we paid for it or even,
Paying 300.
well, even if we didn't.
Oh, that's-
Yeah, I'm more than willing to donate, to volunteer for
Well,
this. I think this is important.
Do you think Clear and SMPA and others that might be in the back list would be willing to do too?
I'll talk to him and see. Yeah, I'm not sure about Clear. I mean, you know, they live in Carbondale. I mean, I can put her up, but it is.
But they might still have a poster board or some display stuff there.
Mhm.
It's self-explanatory stuff.
Correct. So
Is this the poster from last year?
it is,
Was it
It is.
colored or was it?
it was colored. Yeah, sorry, I
Oh,
I
this
even
is curious.
skipped on carbon to not use up my ribbon. But, yeah, Kendra from Eco Action Partners designed this and we could have her tweak it, if anybody has any, besides taking my email off the bottom, is any other changes?
Are you doing free trade rides again?
Yes, we will do free
Well,
trade.
if we do a booth, it should be mentioned in here as well. Right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, I want to help promote the Ridgway train folks who are nice enough to let us use their parking lot. So I think any thing we do to try to promote it, we should include that.
Got to get them to switch over to an electric motor on the mail cart.
That'd be cool.
And the honor the past, ride the future, you know, again, was trying
Oh, I
to,
see.
you know, promote the train theme. We
Evolution.
actually went to ChatGPT last year and said, can you give us some titles for an event that would honor the train, have the trains and have the.
So the ChatGPT came up with it?
Yeah, I
You
did.
know how much electricity the generator costs?
Yeah, but it was solar.
Yeah, I see. They did it during the day, is what you're saying.
So,
Is Kendra making the poster again, or we need to ask her if she will, or we're making it?
I think.
Kendra would be happy to make it, I'm sure. But, you know, we just tell her what we want to change.
All right.
I
I don't think it needs to be changed much, but it
No. It's, you know,
looks really good.
it's.
If we
Saturday.
combine the electrification theme, you know,
Ah,
Right,
then
That's
should
true.
add some of that to it.
exactly,
Yeah, and see us at a booth at the Rendezvous Festival. I
okay,
think
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
right.
and come across the street for the rides. Oh, it says so right there on location. So we just add to the locations, it'd be a second location, the booth at the festival.
So Sheridan is gonna be our advertising coordinator. Um. Any other jobs here that, I mean, you know, one of the jobs is definitely being here and being in the booth and all that, or, you know, helping coordinate. Are there other things that, people want to work on, or?
The question about the liability waiver, if we had a booth, could people sign up to do an EV ride at the booth, sign the waiver there, and make that a central headquarters and
In the morning.
not burden, you know, the folks out in the field with that? Is it, in other words, make it a central depot for
The only
rides?
concern I have is, you know, we gonna take their word for it that they signed it, or are they gonna bring it over
They get
to us?
Rip
or-
off slip from the bottom of it or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
That-
okay.
It's not a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, but, so,
And that's because people that are bringing the vehicles are allowing folks
Hey,
to, Jake, allowing
Hey, Jake.
people to drive their cars.
correct.
Wow, so that's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's really to cover the town
Mhm.
and, you know,
So it's
Rock and anybody else like that who's involved, clear, you know.
why
But,
don't the dealers bring the cars and?
They do. but I mean, we had
Liability.
3 dealers with 4 or 5 cars last
Very
year.
good, that's cool.
Oh.
And they enjoyed it,
Right.
but, you know, we want more cars than just what we can get.
Cool to get a
here.
new Volkswagen van,
Yeah.
the electric
That's cool
van.
looking.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, they have one in Grand Junction. They bring it down.
Yeah,
I saw one there. It's
Yeah.
adorable.
yeah.
So
So Clear is the one that does that coordination though with the dealers?
they do. So, what I'll do is I'll reach out to individually, to people in this committee if I need help with different things.
So I'm more than willing to help. My kids arrive on the 9th. And so I'm not available on the 9th and the 10th because I'm visiting kids. But I can certainly
They can help.
put posters around and stuff.
They can help. This is good for them.
No, they're, got other plans with them.
All right, all right.
So I can
So,
help out with some of the, whatever coordination beforehand, but
sounds good. And so Sheridan, you may wind up to being the event coordinator if I can't make it.
I second that.
But I'll try to make it, you know, so,
I think if we just, yeah, if we get it set up before, it'll be fine.
right.
Yeah.
So-
Quick question about advertising with the paper and radio stations. Last year, did they ask you for money for that or they just do it?
Last year, the town paid for the advertising with the paper, although the town also this year has a quarter page every month. Or something, half page every
Yeah, we had a
month.
quarter page every month. I think we used it in advance of the EV Ride and Drive event. Is this the second or third year? Was last-
This is the third year, yeah.
May have got last year, just
I think-
oversight, but we did it at least one year, and then we have a half page once a month. So we could just use a half page ad for the EV Ride. and Drive.
Right,
Okay,
yeah, and we took our poster, so it was pretty easy to,
okay.
so.
Probably ideal time would be like 2 weeks before or 1 week before.
Great.
2 weeks before. And then the radio
I
station.
wonder, and this is back to fundraising idea again. I wonder if any of those dealers would be willing to pay to be here,
Right.
you know, charge them $200.
If we could generate a lot of folks out there, yes, but
Because that's a marketing opportunity for them. They've got marketing.
it
budgets.
is, but I appreciate, I mean, they drive all the way from Grand Junction.
You probably just add to that.
Doesn't cost them any gas.
Sorry.
That's true.
Sorry.
Yeah, I guess we need to grow to a point where they don't feel deterred or anything if
Right.
we were to charge them. I mean, that's a long way to go.
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
Help them generate some sales.
Good idea.
Well, they can bring the food.
Exactly.
They can sponsor the food.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of negative. I think at least.
So we have generated a few EV sales after these events.
Speaking of food, do you have a vendor's license to sell food at a?
Yeah, I think they do a month, but I,
What if SMPA were to bring in an electric stovetop and cook hot dogs or something? Give them away, sell them for.
And give away. You wouldn't need, we don't have a business license, you wouldn't need a sales tax license if you're not selling anything. You'd probably need an inspection from
Everybody get one of these?
Erie County Public Health or, on the food safety standpoint, but.
All right, any other questions about the event?
oh,
No.
yes, the paper, the radio, did we pay them too, or no?
No, they have, actually, you can go out, is it KOTO or what's the radio?
And
That's-
KBNF.
KBNF,
And here in town, it's KOOK.
okay.
Kook.
That's
And,
perfect.
and you can actually go out to their website and say, I'd like to be on your calendar and put the event in. And
Same with, there's also KURA, that's a radio station out of Uray.
Okay,
KURA, it's run at the school, but if you didn't know, the Kodo, which is the main radio station in Telluride, put in a repeater in Uray and 90.3, and they get, the call letters are KOOK.
okay.
So and I get it at my house, and it's the same thing that they broadcast in Telluride.
so Kodo, Kook, who else?
So, KURA,
KUR.
and then KUNF, KVN.
And again, it's easier to do that after we had the poster.
Okay,
Because then you can attach, and put a link in there and attach your poster.
one last question. I'll ask Kendra like this week about the poster, but then when we do want to print it eventually, what sizes did we do last year? Because I know you had some big ones.
We did have some big ones, and again, the town helped us with that, and I think we can probably.
Yeah, I mean, 8.5 by 11, that's small.
We did some of those and a few big ones.
11 by 14 kind of thing.
14.
That's what we posted around in the.
Okay, I'll email you about it later.
Yeah,
Well, we can print those out here.
Okay,
yeah, so. I don't think that'll be a problem.
thanks.
And it looks like your right pengular is, your calendar is about 2 weeks.
2 weeks out, okay.
Yeah, so I'm sure Deb can help us with could she help coordinate that? Good,
Oh,
so, and you've got my number, just, we'll be talking. I think it's time to really start working on this.
Okay.
Anything else on this event?
No, you've done a lot of work already.
Does SMPA have the bunch of electric equipment that they have on display or they use, or do we need to
Um,
coordinate with people to get?
They can get it. I mean, they give them away. They're gonna be giving away a bunch of that stuff at this meeting tomorrow, Thursday. You know, electric blowers, they have rebates for all this.
Right,
I made them buy an electric bike, so they have that, you know, electric mountain bike. And they've got 4 or 5 EVs now themselves, and the Tesla and 2 or 3 pickups now.
Mhm.
They're looking at someday getting an electric bucket truck, which would be cool.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That would be great. We'll talk to them, but we may want to bring our electric lawnmowers or,
I've got one too,
Yeah.
a good one, new one.
did you get a SPA rebate?
I can't remember. Also, I just lost my train of thought. I'll think of it.
Sure.
Oh, I know. Pat Willits has an electric side by side.
Mhm. Yeah, we've invited Pat to,
That would be cool to have. that.
Well, if it's not being used, right, this is electric, the golf cart here, is that all electric?
Yeah.
one?
Oh.
And the,
Use that one.
and that one's all electric, and then the old one is electric as well, just takes like 9 batteries to run.
Do you
No.
drive this one?
Sometimes,
Do you like it? I'm thinking of getting
pretty
one.
cool, it's not.
Got mag wheels.
I take them on the streets anyway.
Mine's not.
Yeah, who's gonna-
The range.
You know, the Marshall.
Yeah, and Angela helped us last year coordinate several EV or electric motorcycles, which are
Oh,
also.
And Josh Shipley has an electric Harley.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I know
Yes.
somebody with an electric motorcycle.
the road it scared the hell out of me.
I bet.
It's so, I kept trying to shift gears, there's no shifting, and you know, normally you decelerate, and you actually have to turn the accelerator down. Whereas, you know, a regular motorcycle, you just let go of it as you're going in the, it just took me a while. I couldn't figure out how to stop it. That was the thing. that was
Oh,
scary.
that's not
So there are
good.
no brakes to accelerate.
No, it's got brakes too,
Oh,
but on a regular motorcycle, you let off the accelerator and it goes, you know, just winds down and you're downshifting. There's no shifting. It's a constant velocity.
Hmm.
So you come to the stop, oh, okay, well, I gotta turn that down and hit the brakes and kept trying to clutch and, you know, just my muscle memory was off. So, but, and it's got all that electric torque, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna fly off the back of it.
Yeah.
And he has an electric truck as well.
We are meeting with Stephen in a couple of weeks, David and I. And I think it's really timely because if we're gonna apply for one of these grants, I think, you know, having an initial idea of what we're gonna target would be important. So we're just gonna have a short meeting with him coming up soon. Any other work plan items?
Yeah, so Christine and I met with Christine Brunno. Who's a local landscaper here in town.
well, Christine Wilson.
Christine Wilson, right? And she's interested in sustainability from a landscaping perspective, and we met with her for a while, and it's not clear what all we can do, but she's very interested in soil health. And a big part of soil health is composting, and doing, you know, composting correctly. And generating the right kind of compost that really soil health. And so she's actually taking a class on soil health right now, and she's got a whole you know, recipe that she's trying out for her compost to, you know, build compost that has a lot of fungal activity going on that helps build soil health faster. And one of the things we talked about is the towns somehow, or the SAB, you know, promoting soil health, composting, sort of things to the community, maybe with the help of some local composting companies. There's one out of Paonia that, oh, soil not dirt. And so what we kind of talked about maybe doing is that whenever we have a booth that the SAB is doing at one of these events or at the ribbon cutting that we see about including in our portfolio of things that we offer the community, more information about composting and correct composting and soil health. So she's basically interested in having us help sort of promote some of these concepts. Christina is also a landscaper, and so she was very interested in this. She said she'd take it on. Unfortunately, she's not here today. She was going to contact the soil not dirt company in Paonia and see if there's any interest of them participating in some of this. She's also going to talk to the people at the community garden. I guess she has some contacts there. I don't know, and see if they want to somehow start promoting composting and correct composting and stuff like that. I haven't talked to her since our meeting with Christine Wilson, so I don't know if she's come up with anything, but certainly when we do the ribbon cutting, when we do that, we'd like to try to include something about that. We also talked about possibly doing a booth at the farmers markets at least once a month, but you know, again, that's something else in our plate. Maybe something we maybe consider going forward if we could coordinate, but I don't know if we can start that this summer. Unless Christina really wants to you know, take that on. One question I have is for the farmers market, that's run by the town, right?
No, that's a separate nonprofit.
Okay, so we'd have to get a booth space from them.
Yeah, but
They're pretty expensive, aren't they?
are they? I don't know.
Pretty sure.
But that's one where with what the town does to accommodate that event every Friday, it's a wonderful event, but I hope that they'd be willing to
Give the town a booth.
give everyone a break and let SAB have a booth or something, you know, but.
Well, one thing I can maybe do is talk with them and see about the possibility of, if not this summer, or sometime you know, next year, having SAB booths to probably focus more on some of the, you know, composting and some of the stuff that's toward the bottom of our work plan.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole host of stuff. Did you tell Christine about the website and what's already on there to promote?
Yeah, and she's seen all that, and she thinks it's great, and she's really happy it's there. And we can do some more with that if we get something more going with composting in the community, or you know, if we have more posting information for people about how to do another type of composting than what we're already recommending on the website. So maybe there'll be more on this next meeting with Christina.
So a related idea that I had for future kind of things to put on the SEB annual plan would be something on tree health. And Lois, you know, has done an inventory of the town trees, and I don't know what happened to that. It's kind of gone by the wayside that I'm aware of, but it would be interesting to sit down with Lois Zeman, I think, and, you know, if Christine was interested, you know, and see where are we as far as tree health in the town, and are there issues there? And
Yeah.
you know,
I guess
We have, sorry, go ahead.
my guess is that Christina probably wouldn't be that interested because she's more into design and flowers and stuff like that. So I don't know if but there's, you know, the Sega Tree and whoever else does tree maintenance in there might be.
I didn't know Lois did the tree inventory. We our latest tree inventory, which we refer to often, was done in 2020.
I think she did it, yeah.
And maybe she was part of it,
Yeah.
but we have on our list for next year, an updated tree inventory with the same groups, which is great, but we refer to that tree inventory often, not just through the GIS layer that we have, but we work with our arborist, and coincidentally, our arborist is here for the first time this summer today, working his way through that inventory and working on tree removals and some refreshers.
Good.
But I mean, we refer to it, again, not to be redundant, but all the time and every summer, and it's guided by that inventory, and then kind of, checking the health again based on what's on the inventory and what we see each summer.
Excellent.
So.
Sounds like that's taken care of.
I mean, we could always do more, but Tyler, I don't know his last name, he's out of Telluride, is our arborist.
Sure.
But like Jonathan Barfield's local, there's other paying companies, but sometimes there's some more pressing items that we always wait for Tyler on that we don't have to. There's so many arborists around, we can go to them, but that inventory is hugely helpful.
Right, it's important, but I'm
It's
happy to
important.
hear
Yeah.
sounds like.
Especially, the crown jewel here.
Oh, no.
We spent a lot of time making sure that like trees aren't gonna fall over on someone during the farmer's market, and that can happen if you don't give it the attention that it
Right.
needs and deserves. So this shit happens.
Exactly.
Shit happens.
Shit
Well,
happens.
the
but
the
that-
usual lifespan of a cottonwood is 80 to 100 years. Those are already older.
Yeah, and those are
Yeah.
old.
Well, we use the vulture shit, that's the secret.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that. I was at the farmer's market Friday, and there was a group of teenagers playing hacky sack right in under the drop zone. And I came up to them, I said, "See all that white stuff on the ground? Do you know what that is?" They go, "No." I said, "The turkey vultures roost up here. You might want to move over a few yards." They were like, "Oh, thanks, dude." They were kicking the hacky sack around the vulture shit.
Distributes it. Good.
I have one more little topic to brief you guys on, and I'll read it to you. I found a grant opportunity for agrivoltaics. And Susan Hall, I got SMPA to pay to have Susan Holland help me write the grant. I didn't charge him anything for a planning grant to do pollinating plants underneath the planned solar array. The SMPA is going to work on getting a grant for the Green Street Sustainability Park. And here's a 2-sentence description of the project that went in the grant. We applied for roughly $40,000. It says a 200 kilowatt community agrivoltaic solar facility will serve as a vital component of the microgrid for community resilience, serving the town of Ridgway. The agrivoltaic solar array will be located at the Green Street Sustainability Park, which includes a community garden and community apiary, and will serve as one of the 2 large solar arrays to feed a 4-hour storage system to provide backup power for SMPA circuit that feeds the town of Ridgway. And then it's a 10-page grant application with lots of narrative. If anybody's interested, I'll send you the copy of the application. But point is, if we're successful with that, that money would go to SMPA, and then we would then hire a consultant and an ag partner to go define what the possibilities are for doing agrivoltaics in the community array that the town approved as part of the Green Street Sustainability Park Master Plan. It's a lot. So it's a component that was mentioned in the master plan, but there's never any funding allocated to really research it. So this would be funding specific to look at the agrivoltaics. And Susan approached Christine Lance at the garden, and then Fred, I think, or somebody else at the apiary, just to get their kind of buy-in to the concept. And they may become participants in the planning process once we get grant money to do that. So
Did reach out to last week.
yeah.
Remember when JT Thomas was around? Do you recall him saying that the soil over there wasn't conducive?
No, he did a high level evaluation to pretty much what's the word I'm looking for? To forego the use of it as a producing garden underneath the array. In other words, agrivoltaics can be anything from pollinating plants or wild foliage to vegetables to, and there's not enough good enough water, and there's not good enough soil without an expensive amendment process. But probably this is what the planning grant will look at, those possibilities. But likely it would just be some minor amendment during the construction of the solar array to put pollinating plants that would hopefully be in coordination with the apiary and the community garden to see what is the, appropriate type of plant.
I thought it was
By the way, one of the things that,
produce and stuff. I didn't realize.
No, it could be as simple as just pollinating plants.
one of the things that Christine Wilson said that she'd be having to do is do some soil samples around there to characterize the soil.
Mhm.
And once we do that, that could be used to help determine.
That'd be great.
plants.
We actually did as part of the planning grant for the microgrid, I did a full geotech analysis, but it's intended for structural analysis
Yeah,
of
so
soil.
this would be,
Quality of
this
soil.
would be analyzing the soil and
Yeah.
seeing what's in there and what pH is and what, what kind of,
I think it's pretty high.
organisms are in there right now. And she's, she knows, natives and a lot of stuff, so she'd know what could probably go into those.
That's great. So we'll, if we get the grant, we'll tap her. I mean, otherwise the array will go in and they'll just do a, gravel bed or something underneath of it. It won't be a productive use, but if we could, make it a productive dual purpose solar array, it's consistent with the sustainability part concept.
Is there concern that this would raise the panels and then?
No, it would take advantage of the existing design to
Okay,
find out
good.
what's the best plant to grow in that
Perfect.
percentage shade.
Mhm.
So it wouldn't add, hopefully it won't add much cost to the solar array.
Right,
Is there
And it'll-
water?
It'd be less than
Pardon me?
gravel.
Having water?
I'm hoping it'll be dry land farming, that it'll just be natural, whatever is, it may require some watering, but I don't think so. I mean, you don't typically water underneath the solar array unless you're trying to grow
But
something.
is there water in that?
There's water in that ditch that comes off of Dallas.
yeah.
Doesn't belong,
That's a, that,
Right.
Doesn't
no,
belong.
but there's a water main and there's a service line to the community garden.
Oh.
So there's water.
There's water right there.
good,
Yeah.
right. Good. Any other discussion of work plan items? Should we look at the work plan items to see if there's any?
A few things coming together, with the net zero is obviously to do the inventory, which Dave and I are hopefully get a start on and look into the grant possibility, but also if we're gonna do something next year, we need to start looking at budget. When does the town's budgeting process kick off?
Depends on the year, but late August, early September till, the last budget workshop at the town council levels and, like right before Thanksgiving, budget adoption in December. So anyway, your question was when it starts. So I'd say September 1.
With regards to number 11, evaluate recommend options for instituting a turf replacement program that could include rebates or incentives. Isn't there already some sort of initiative in the town to look at that? Didn't we see that with not the parks and.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have the Growing Water Smart Action Plan, which
Right.
we, kind of try to look at periodically and make sure everyone understands, but I think what you're referring to is as part of that plan, there's an initiative to reduce the amount of turf in our parks. Excuse me, not in our parks, but non-functional turf on town property, right? The best example is what we did last year in the non-functional area where the porta johns are for the farmer's market. And there's plenty of other areas we could explore that. But yeah, the town doesn't have, like some of the bigger communities do, a turf replacement program where
Incentive.
incentives, rebates, other ways to get residential properties to remove their turf and go towards more
City of Denver
zero,
did something like that.
xeriscape type,
Yeah.
low water use type plantings.
Until 3 or 4 years ago, we required turf.
Right,
So,
that's a change.
so we have made progress there.
Yeah, so now it's, it's live and non-live kind of delineation, but it's a lot better than it used to be.
Right.
You all are aware that we have a voluntary water restriction in place right now for the town.
Yeah, there's guidelines for abiding by those voluntary water restrictions. We may get to mandatory at some point.
Speaking of that, not to be bust their chops, After the big rain last night, I looked out my window and the school was watering the lawn this morning. I don't know if it's, if they're participating in that voluntary schedule.
Oh, it's a secondary school.
Yeah,
I actually.
it was right after the rain. This morning I woke up to the fog and stopped raining and I see their sprinklers are on. It's like, oh, really?
Yeah, that's the stuff that we've talked about, you know, looking silly like that. And now we have smart sensing technology on most of the zones.
I don't think the school does.
School does it, but I coincidentally had talked with Shane Ayer, who's the facilities guy, and he's great about their use of the non-potable water on the baseball field by the elementary school, because that's a lot of turf for the baseball field, and they use a lot of water. And so I asked them to take a hard look at what they use and modify times and stuff, but so I think that can. We should make a good dent. The same with.
Tapped into the non-potable line?
I don't know about, no, I don't think up there. I think that's all domestic up there, but non-potables down here. And then same with the library. Library uses the non-potable.
Oh, they do.
And
But the school's using potable water. That's a big hit to the,
I mean,
I don't know how big a hit. They got a lot.
that, you know, that's the treated water, but it's all coming from the preset ponds.
It's
It's
all
all
water.
water that could be, yeah, it's all the same, you know.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's all the same.
Right.
And the parks, the non-potable side of the system, which, you know, goes around the water plant, isn't treated, right? That's a big user of the water.
It's like a
To keep
third,
these parks green, right?
it's a third of our town's water.
That's where I've been concentrating my efforts to really cut back on water usage in the parks and find some of these bigger users and try to, you know, nip it in the bud as much as possible.
So is that working, this new system that we have? You have a feel for that? You said both in different watering areas, we have sensors and.
As far as I know, I haven't gone around looking.
But they are deployed and they
Yeah.
shouldn't be watering if it's.
They shouldn't, yeah. Steven still needs to do the athletic park, which is the big one in my eye, but
Yeah, that's huge.
but yeah, as soon as that goes in, we'll have them on all zones.
And he actually does it himself.
Yeah, him and Bobby installed all those themselves, so I don't know how we got on this topic, but
Number 11.
and then you asked about, or you mentioned the water restrictions.
Right.
so.
Right. Yeah,
We had a special town council meeting yesterday.
Yesterday.
Wow, seemed like a week ago. Big presentation on the options for repairing the blowout up there. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Big report on it. It looks like the options are somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.2 to 2.5 million stretch.
Yeah. with,
Probably more like 1.5.
Yeah, and those are rough guesses, but and you know, we could talk about it all day, I'm sure, but alternatives were presented last night. We got direction on kind of a route to go, which would be it wouldn't be the option of replacing what was there. Going the route of, you know, rockweir, Coanda screen, but a potential infiltration gallery, if you know how some of those pieces work, and would help us potentially capture water in the winter months better than what we can now. But, you know, based on the numbers that we were looking at last night, I think those are rough numbers, and I had in my head that they'd be twice that at least.
I think they're only at the, what, 30% design point or something?
Well,
Are they so going to?
kinda, by the end of the month, they should be at 60% design. But the point of the meeting last night was to pick a concept and move forward. Good. So we've been at the conceptual phase, so
excellent.
now I think that was a big milestone. Now we can forge ahead.
Good.
And that the information on it is on the website, right? If you're interested.
Yeah, that whole alternatives analysis is,
It's pretty interesting. It talks about the ancient geology that created the streams coming off.
yeah, you go to the town council webpage, and then you go, you know, you can always scroll down. This is the town council webpage here. You scroll down to get meeting minutes, agenda packets, click on. These are accordion kind of things, maybe not that intuitive, but.
Go ahead and
click on the-
click on this, that
Which
packet, just to show the
June
extent
2nd,
of
which
the
was
study
yesterday.
that we looked
June
at.
2nd.
and you can read through this 30-page
It's
analysis.
pretty neat. It goes through all the various options, but it goes through the history of the blowout and, you know, some really interesting photos in there. If you haven't been up there, which I haven't been, I'd love to go back. I missed the tour.
It documents existing conditions and just the alternatives they looked at and.
And the ancient geology I thought that was
Yeah,
fascinating.
that's.
Yeah, I was like,
It's great.
I'm like, did you guys make this up? You would never know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, back when the dinosaur was walking this way.
Excellent. Excellent.
But for,
Good. Any other?
but our water system is part of sustainability of the town, so
That's
it's of
definitely-
interest to us.
I think it's very important. We don't have Joyce anymore, but and speaking of that, so Joyce is gone.
Yeah, she's.
Oh, forever?
Yeah, I don't think, well, her term and my term and Dana's term expire this summer.
Oh, I
I
see,
think,
I see.
So,
Reapplying like.
Likely not with what she has going on and
yeah, I don't think,
work and everything.
I don't think she'll be back. So,
Joyce, Dana and Dave, August 10th of this year is the expiration date.
and I'm gone so much of the following year that I'm happy to step off and become a volunteer, and I can show up like Sheridan did, and, you know, that way I can talk to people legally, you know, I
She
can,
got wrangled in.
so, you know, if people, because we are gonna be, you know, a month in Norway and a month in Mexico and 2 months into, you know,
Must be nice. Yeah, sounds.
2 months in Vietnam, and then we got all these
Oh,
kids,
That's
so,
cool.
yeah, so we have a big year planned. So
Good for you.
I don't think I'll be calling in from Vietnam probably.
No, you should not.
Um, but,
So it may be, if you're getting that, yeah, maybe getting to a point where we need to find interest from other folks and
Yeah.
advertise and.
yeah, we had.
And I'll talk with Joyce to verify that she's, you know, gonna pull out. I'm pretty sure she is.
Think I
She hasn't
verified it
told.
with her, yeah. So,
So Dave, can you link the resolution on the flag to the website?
I've got that.
That's available on the town website, also the resolution is. I
yeah,
believe.
so
If not, I can forward it to you.
I'll continue to do what I can, but I don't necessarily need to fill the chair here. And then we need to look at, you know, who's the new chairperson. So we need to select somebody. So,
Cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be, over time, I think it'd be cool, whether through T-shirts or just further visibility on these events, to get more of an identification of the residents with the SAB, just like the town identifies with dark sky now. A lot of people say, oh yeah, I live in a dark sky community. It's like, I live in a, you know, community that promotes sustainability or whatever, however you want to phrase it. But
Mhm.
the logo that Dana will come up with for the T-shirts
Can't sell
or
them.
the tagline.
We can't sell them.
Hmm?
You can't sell them.
We
Not
could-
now, but
we
we-
could wear them.
Yeah. this
Yeah, we
year.
could wear
Yeah,
them.
right.
Yeah, let's just make something for us. Super cool.
And we've had Preston force all the town staff to learn.
Yeah.
Steven-
Embarrassing.
Steven, where,
Yeah. Of course, they'll wear it out in about 3 days.
no,
good. Are there anything else that we need to discuss?
Well, I mean, we've never done the idling, which I just don't understand why that can't get passed, since Rico has it, Dolores has it. I just don't understand why it's not happening with the town.
You talking about the idle free
We
thing?
drafted a resolution.
Yeah, but that resolution is like, we recommend a 3-minute, it's not, it's like everything else in town. We recommend instead of we demand. I thought an ordinance and a resolution
Well,
was a law,
I think,
recommendation.
what about next meeting, we revisit that, but you and Sheridan can,
Well, the impression I got was the town had to vote on it.
Well, no,
The town didn't.
let me finish. So let's talk about it next meeting. Let's all reacquaint everybody. And then we have our 3-month update pretty soon coming up to the town council.
Yeah.
And that would be the time
It's
to,
an educational thing.
well, but that's our opportunity to address the town council.
To see if it gets more teeth.
So every 3 months, we have that. So let's,
But yeah, Dana, if you have a proposed ordinance for discussion at the next meeting, that's the place to start the initiative.
This went up and I just don't think it's got enough meat, so I'll try
Yes,
to
if you
find
wanna-
another one.
Provide input on that to get it where it needs to be, and then,
It's my
you know,
fault.
this is the place it starts, and then it can make its way to town council level for consideration and
Well,
adoption.
I'm in front of the town council already once.
yeah, no, I think that because we have a new process, you know, where we actually quarterly have time to brief the
Like we
town
did with net
council,
zero resolution.
like we did with net zero. I think that's the optimal time to present it.
Okay.
And, yeah, I don't think there's any dropping the ball. I think it's good.
When I go to the post office, someone's car is just idling there. They don't understand.
Right.
If that sign was up there, at least it would be an educational.
Yeah, well, and that's the lowest form of engagement, a resolution that requires, enforcement is the extreme, and that's where it would be, that's a push for the council to approve something that our marshals have to,
Well, there's no
enforce.
way to.
Yeah, well, that's why it
Put
kind of,
frickin' signs up and educate people. You could
Well-
maybe walk up and say, hey, see that?
right,
Turn your car off.
right. Well, let's revisit it and make
I
it,
mean, you're talking about air quality and if that isn't,
no, it makes sense.
those little particles that come out of a idling car are the worst thing in the world for children's lungs. Because I did a whole bunch of research on it and it's, I guess people don't care about their kids. I mean,
Well, maybe at this next quarterly that we're asking for a budget item to purchase signs or something,
right,
in addition to
okay.
whether it's an ordinance or a resolution, but bringing it to the fore.
What is the difference between an ordinance and a
Resolution is a kind of a goal, whereas an ordinance is a law.
law?
You know, resolution can set policy, yeah, an ordinance, enacts, regulations, some of which can actually, be punitive and,
Throw you in jail.
Fines,
yeah. So,
make you sit in front of an idling car.
Even a second down.
Thing I've read said there's no way to, police an ordinance or a resolution if you just put it up with the frickin' sign up
Educate.
and try to educate.
well, it's just hard to enforce is what you're saying.
Exactly.
It's just like, it's not impossible, it's really hard to enforce, just like with Jake breaks.
Right.
People are like, why don't you enforce that? Well, if a deputy's in River Park and there's, we actually talk about this.
Coming down the hill.
Coming down the hill,
Yeah.
there's no evidence to substantiate if that marshal were to actually go try to catch that truck. Was he caught him on camera or something? Substantiate that was the actual truck.
Well,
Talk
I
about
don't
this.
care about giving tickets out. I'm just trying to educate people, be able to.
Oh, I know, I'm just trying to paint a picture on
Turn
how
their
hard it is.
car.
Yeah, I understand. And I appreciate y'all talking about
Create a
that.
shame campaign.
I don't like it, but I
Ooh,
don't
that
know what
works.
to do about it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Makes me up.
Create a shame
Real
campaign.
changes in people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shame.
What we do is we present it to the high school. We get all the kids to be the shamers. And when the kids are, at the post office, see someone
Some
hiding.
kind of a shame campaign.
The kids point to the sign.
Oh, is that what you're saying? Is
Is that the new term for bullying?
Well,
What is this?
it's,
That's bullying?
it's a degree of bullying, I suppose.
I mean, I'm talking about some of that.
Now we really digress.
Yeah.
It'd be bullying if you identify how old their car is. Like, you gonna drive that?
That's true.
Well, I did tell one lady to turn her car.
Yeah.
She couldn't because she had a bad battery and she turned her car.
Oh, that's
off.
funny.
Oh, but you hit the one woman at a.
Yeah, the one
excuse.
person with a real reason.
You got some minutes to approve.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
It's powering my oxygen generator. I can't turn my car off.
What's his name, Jim?
They look great to me.
Yeah.
Can you? No, I was joking that the woman's, my car's powering my oxygen
Second.
generator.
Favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Cool.
Great.
You guys are getting so much done. I think,
We're more, a little more organized than we were
I
before.
really
Thanks,
do.
Preston.
I think a lot's been done,
Yeah, I think it's a group effort. Nope.
even with Trump.